Hello and welcome to another episode of Fortuna Redux. Now, as you may have already seen, we're back from the desert and it was great. We'll talk a little bit about that later, but first I have some interesting news.
Oh, what's this?
So apparently, Ford is going to unveil the new 2021 Ford Bronco on July 9th.
July 9th.
July 9th. Okay. So
I'm looking forward to that.
That's about a week and a half from today. Mm-hmm. By the time you see it, it'll be a few days or something, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, so July 9th, cool, whatever. Now, you might be asking, what's the significance of this date? Well, July 9th happens to be O.J. Simpson's birthday. Now...
Did they not see that
coming?
Did they?
I don't know.
What happened?
So apparently, they're going to unveil it on that day, and according to Ford,
it is intentional.
According to Ford, it is completely unintentional and has nothing to do. They were not planning that in the slightest.
Oh my god!
And it just sort of happened.
That's such an insane coincidence that I feel like they must.
That's too. No, that can't be right.
That's like some Illuminati stuff.
They said it was totally unintentional. Whoops, sorry on their part.
That sounds like Illuminati.
But anyway, I guess everybody should know about O.J. Simpson. But in case you don't, he is famous for running from the police on the 405 in his 1993 white Ford Bronco,
amongst others.
Actually, Pierre, can you post a picture of that?
Yeah, sure.
Just look at that.
For sure.
Glorious. I love that. I love that vehicle.
Okay, they just better not unveil a white Bronco.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's white,
then maybe
it's confirmed. Illuminati meets on Tuesdays. Like it's
but like Joe,
yeah.
It can't be a coincidence because July 9th is a Thursday.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah,
who
Thursday.
releases a car on a
Okay.
Thursday?
Well, it says here from the article, okay, a Ford rep said the launch date was purely coincidental. That's a direct quote. And the company has no plans to change it.
Why? If I was the marketing department and I found that out, it was coincidence and I thought of that, I would change it immediately.
Well, I mean, I guess, I don't know.
But hey, we're not Ford.
Yeah, no,
It's a Thursday and that's weird. Why not like Friday or Monday?
Because it's the day they decided on, apparently.
And they could have gotten away with it so easily. They could have just been like, "Oh shoot, that's a little embarrassing." You know what? We'll just say, you know what? Actually, we've decided to move it to Friday because it's a better day to release a car.
Yeah, they had a perfect out,
but
they didn't take it, and it's July 9th. It's coming out. Here's a picture of it. I guess we should probably show it. What we think it's gonna look like. Yeah. Because they haven't unveiled it yet. But boom, I like it. It's kind of nice. It kind of brings back the old. Yeah. It has that old nostalgia. The 60s Bronco, but it looks kind of modern. I don't know.
You know what would be absolutely hilarious is that if it didn't look anything like this at all, and they basically just took the Ford Ranger and made it.
That would be hilarious.
That would be funny, but I guess we'll find out July 9th.
We'll have to find out.
Anyway,
So guys, last week, as Joe mentioned previously, we actually took to the desert to test these mopeds that we made. And I would say it went fairly well.
I'm very red.
They freaking top geared us.
Very tired. Dumping gasoline all over the motor.
Although it could have gone a little better, I suppose.
Yeah.
But we thought we would talk about kind of more of the behind-the-scenes stuff of what went into making them, because we didn't really show that so much.
Yeah.
So guys, what was it like making your moped?
It was okay. It wasn't that hard. There were things that we had to work around. We didn't really show much of it in the video, but we did show like drilling a hole in that mount for our water bottle holder. That actually took a lot of time and was way more difficult than we had anticipated to make that work. And also the exhaust, we talked about that, but yeah, I actually had to take a torch. And what we didn't mention was the fact that it's actually in the instructions. If your bicycle's pedals hit the exhaust, they tell you to take a torch and bend it.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of things in the instructions that make absolutely zero sense.
That too. The fact that our pedals hit the case as well, we mentioned that, but I actually had to take a grinder. I tried a bunch of things. I tried knocking it over a little bit and moving it, but Everything I tried didn't work, so in the end I got sick of it, and I took a grinder to the pedal and just ground down right where it was.
I see. Hey guys, I do have a question for you though.
What's that?
Was the chainsaw in the instructions as well?
Yes, that was in the instructions.
Because we didn't get that get that far in the instructions, I guess.
I guess so.
We got the higher trim package.
Okay, there we go.
With all the wires and stuff like that.
I do have to say though, I was quite impressed with how well the moped kit worked. We didn't show testing it, but actually as soon as we put it together and we went for a test run, it started up on the first time we tried.
Yeah,
And I was quite impressed. And other than that, the fact that the carburetor, we didn't actually say this in the video, but the carburetor is plastic.
yeah.
It's clearly a cheap motor, but hey.
Well, hey, you know what? That's what you get for $100 worth of Chinese steel and plastic. So
Yeah, well, and for $100, I gotta say, it is one heck of a deal. I mean, you get all of that for $100, and it works on the first try. Yeah. And we've ridden ours probably high 30 miles, which is surprising.
I mean,
kind of expected the engine, something in the engine to crack at about 15 miles, but it's still rolling. And by the way, a little bit of a spoiler warning, but Joe's bike and my bike, there was an incident on filming, and you should go watch the video to find out what it was exactly.
Well, I mean, the video already is out, so they should have already watched it.
They should have.
They should be up to speed.
Haven't, be sure to watch it.
Okay, well, how about this? From now on, pause this video, go to the previous one, watch that real quick, and then you'll be up to speed and you can watch the rest of this video.
There we go. So, I mildly drove it into a ditch. Anyway, but we found out it was the rear wheel, because it was a back brake system. There was a little bit extra, more going into it than just a normal free spinning wheel. And some of the parts got kind of bent and shoved into the wrong places, which meant it didn't spin anymore. Ooh. But I put a new wheel on it, and I'm happy to report that the Ditchmobile does in fact work just fine.
Nice.
So even with that abuse, this $100 kit, it holds up, man. I highly recommend it.
Probably don't want to get a bike with a back brake on it, though, if you're going to put one of these on.
Probably not. I would recommend you get something with hand brakes. It's just a little safer, a little easier, and just runs better.
For us, we actually managed to get everything working just how it was. You could ride ours like a regular bicycle. All the gears, they shift and work properly. The brakes, we did have to switch around the brakes. We didn't really mention that. Both gear shifters were on the same side of the handlebars, but everything works on ours. So honestly, if you're going to get a bike and do that yourself, don't do what Peter and Joe did and cut the back brake off. Right. As a matter of fact...
But also, we should address that too. Just to clarify, we did cut it off, but because everything was jammed packed together like a sandwich and bolted, really tightly done in, it actually still worked 99% of the time. So we weren't that stupid. It did sort of work, just technically wasn't supposed to. I still don't quite understand it, to be honest. But there you go. We're not that stupid.
It works, and especially it works if you have the gas off and you just lose power halfway through.
Pull clutch.
Yes, and you're just
Yes.
Kind of just.
I'm curious to know: does your bike currently have brakes?
Yes.
Well, what I did is I took the front wheel off. I put my fixie bike wheel on it, so it's about that thin, and then I put the brakes from the fixie on the moped, so that way I have front brake.
I think we should throw a picture of this up on the screen because you have to send me a picture. I can't see it right now, but I want to know.
Yeah, Leo, just take my word for it. It's amazing.
Joe wrote it yesterday actually, and the chain kind of fell off. It still needs some work, but
okay, Peter, I gotta know. You mentioned that in the video. Why was stuff falling off of your moped? You rode it to school, and I rode ours to school.
I figured it out.
Nothing ever fell off of mine. We tightened everything down.
The reason my exhaust.
Do you know how to tighten bolts?
Yes, I know how to tighten bolts. Lefty's tighty, right? So anyway, because the mount didn't fit, as we mentioned, quite properly on our bike, it's not actually bolted to the frame, which means that the engine
kind of
rattles around more. It's not noticeable. You wouldn't notice it by looking at it. But there's more vibration, I think, than your bike, which is why the exhaust fell off, the spark plug fell off, bolts have fallen off.
You know,
even the stud for the engine mount actually came out, and I forgot to mention that.
You know what that just means?
What?
That just means, it's just a smoother ride. Because, when you're sitting there idling, you can't really feel it. It's like the shock absorbing.
Exactly.
That we built into there. We did that on purpose.
The fact that your engine is barely mounted, I just find that glorious. That's awesome.
Well, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up on this moped. I'm going to actually take it apart. Maybe we'll feature it in a future video because I'm going to make it as nice as humanly possible. Paint it and actually paint it well this time, and hopefully secure the engine.
We were in a hurry before.
Well, yeah, exactly. We had a day. Actually, I will also say we built our moped much faster than these two did.
Yeah, than the two engineers.
Well, the difference between you and us is we knew what we were doing, and we did it meticulously, and we tightened everything down in the moment. Clearly, you guys did not.
Well, I guess that just speaks to how easy it is to do because we just kind of threw it on there and it worked.
On a serious note, Joe and I and Leo and Andres, they're not that much better than us. Come on. If the four of us guys can put together these things and make them work, you definitely can too.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Basically, if you can use a ratchet and a screwdriver, you can put this together.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very easy.
And a blowtorch.
Hey, you might not need the blowtorch, but the blowtorch comes in handy.
But yeah, Joe, how else do you do your creme brulee?